In this video, I'll be going through a Yin Yoga sequence. Now in Yin Yoga, we're holding each position somewhere from 1 to 3 minutes, depending on the pose. And so I'm going to be timing those as we go through. I'm not always going to be talking in the middle of the poses. You may want to put on some quiet background music on another device to listen to as you're going through this sequence. So as we go through Yin Yoga, you always want to just listen to your body and make any adjustments you feel are necessary for you. I will in some cases show some modifications, but that'll be once we get started with the position. As I go through the positions, I'm going to be doing the mirror image because I'm facing the viewer. It doesn't really matter if you do the right or left side first, as long as you keep track and you do both sides. First of all, we're going to do the shoelace or cow face pose. This will be for 3 minutes. So take your left heel to the outside of the right hip, cross the right leg on top, bring the heel to the outside of the hip so the knees are lined up together. I'll go ahead and start the timer for 3 minutes. Now, we have some options here. We could get yoga blocks. You can lean on yoga blocks. You can take them higher if you want. Now, if you're not finding this comfortable, there's some other options. So you could get a bolster, and I recommend position the bolster so the corner points forward. We'll sit on the bolster in front of the corner, and then again we're going to pull that left foot back, right leg crosses on top, lining up the knees. Here again, we can lean toward the blocks like this. Now if neither of those positions are working for you for some reason, another alternative will be to lie on the back, and then we can cross the legs over, and you can reach to the outside of the knee and hold, or the back of the thigh. If you get tired of holding this, you can rest your foot on the block and just maintain the position. So this will be a variation if you're not comfortable with the seated position. So we're coming up on the halfway mark. So this is called either shoelace pose or cow face pose. And so we just want to gradually relax deeper into the position. So time of gravity is helping us get lower. It's okay if the back rounds forward as long as that's comfortable for you. You may be able to get the blocks lower as time goes on. You could periodically take this top knee a little bit more right over the bottom knee as you relax deeper into the stretch. And as we hold each position, pay a lot of attention to the breathing. I recommend a slow count to 4 as you inhale, to 8 as you exhale. So inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4-second inhale, 8-second exhale. And now we'll sit up, and let's slowly stretch each leg out, and then just shake the legs around a little bit before we move on to the other side. Okay, now we're going to be taking the right leg back, right heel to the outside of the left hip, and crossing that left leg on top. And again, think of lining up the knees. And I'll go ahead and start the timer for another 3 minutes here. Again, we could lean into the blocks. You could sit on that corner of the bolster, or you also could come to that position of lying on the back, where we cross one leg over the other, whether you hold behind the thigh or on top of the knee. So any of those options that are working for you. So keep relaxing into that stretch. Again, it's okay if the back's rounded. Imagine the head's heavy, like gravity's pulling the head down. And remember that breathing, inhaling for 4, exhaling for 8. And we're halfway done with this one. Remember, as time goes on, you might be able to get that top knee a little bit more directly over the bottom knee. Keep inhaling 4, exhaling 8. And then we'll sit up and stretch the legs out. And we'll shake the legs around. So next position, we'll bend the right knee out to the side, the sole of the foot to the inside of the left thigh, as we're going to lean toward the left leg, and use your blocks as you need. I'll start the timer at 3 minutes again for this one. This is called either half butterfly, or depending on the leg position, half frog, or we could just call it single leg forward bend. Now some options here. If you prefer, we could have this right leg bent back behind, as long as that feels okay in this knee. So I actually prefer this a little bit because it doesn't put as much flexion in the low back. But for some people it could bother the knees, to see what feels good to you. Again, we could have this knee turned out. Now we could bend the knee if you need to modify. We can adjust, turning the leg out or in are some modifications. Now another way to modify would be to sit on the bolster. So then just have the bolster straight across, and then we can lean toward the blocks. You can also hold the foot, but if you hold the foot, you don't want to pull with a lot of force. We just want to be very passive. Gravity and time is helping us relax into the position rather than the force of the muscles. Now, when we have the hips elevated like this, it might be possible to fully lock out this knee, which we don't want. So particularly if your hips are elevated, be sure to keep a little bit of softness in this left knee joint. And we're halfway done with this one. When the knee's folded to the side like this, it's called the half butterfly. The version with the foot folded and back is called the half frog. So we'll keep relaxing into this stretch. Remember your breathing, inhaling for 4, exhaling for 8. Making any adjustments you need to feel comfortable within the stretch. These long hold times help us to stretch into the fascia, the connective tissue covering the muscles. And they help our muscles get past their initial reflex where they first try to tighten the first few seconds of a stretch. Inhaling for 4, exhaling for 8. And now again, we'll slowly sit up, straighten that right leg out, and shake the legs around. Now, same sequence on the other side. So we're bending the left knee off to the side, sole of the left foot inside right thigh. I'll start the timer for 3 minutes. So as before, we've got all these options. We could have that foot folded back behind if you prefer. You could be sitting on the bolster again. Use the blocks as you need to. And adjust that right leg position. If you need to turn it out or in, if you want to bend the knee a little bit, that's fine. So we're taking time to relax into that stretch. Inhaling for 4, exhaling for 8. Time and gravity helping you slowly get deeper into that stretch. And it's okay if the back rounds to the front as long as that's comfortable for your back. If you have anything going on with your low back that feels better to keep it straight, that's fine. Otherwise, though, just relax forward into that stretch. A little over halfway done. Keep relaxing into the stretch, feeling the stretch under that right leg as well as into your back. Making the adjustments as you need to, and inhaling 4, exhaling for 8. And now we'll slowly sit up and take that left leg to the front and shake both legs around. So our last forward bend will be over both legs together, called caterpillar pose, or just seated double leg forward bend. So make sure that you're grounded under the sit bones. We can pull back a little bit under the buttocks to ground the sit bones. Have the feet belt width of hip joints. And then we're going to lean to the front where we could have the support of the blocks as we need. Let's go and start the time. Now, We also, for these positions, could use the Stonehenge position. I didn't show it before for the single leg forward bend, but you could use this for that as well. Where we make a little Stonehenge and rest the forehead on the bolster. So that would work for the single leg forward bend that we just did, or for this double leg forward bend if you prefer. So as with the previous positions, we could be on the bolster like this, but if you're on the bolster again, we don't want to lock those knees out of it, so make sure they stay a little soft. You can hold the feet again if you want, but not using active force to pull, just being very passive as we relax in that stretch, again with the slight softness of the knees. And so we also could make a support for the forehead here by stacking the blocks. As we get a little deeper in the stretch, you might be able to take a block away. And with all these positions, we could turn the knees and toes out or in, point the toes up or down, just relax the feet, bend the knees. Again, we can hold on the feet, but just be very passive if you do so. So time and gravity helping you move into that stretch as we're holding here for 3 minutes. We're now halfway done. Keep inhaling for 4, exhaling for 8. Feeling that stretch under the legs into the back. Gravity pulling the head toward the knees. We're well over 2/3 done with this one. And now we'll slowly sit up. And now we're going to scoot forward and let your arms help you slowly ease down to lie on the back. And then once you lie on the back, we'll straighten the legs out, relax your arms at your sides. I'll start the timer. We're going to rest on the back for a minute. So take deep, full breaths. Feel the abdomen expanding with the inhale, contracting with the exhale. And observe how you feel in all the muscles of the back side of the body, from the back of the hips to the low back, the middle back, around the shoulder blades, the shoulders. See if all those areas feel stretched out. See if they can relax now against the floor. Continue your full deep breaths. About 3/4 done with this. And then we'll bend the knees, flatten the feet, roll to the side. Press hands down as you lift up. And now we're moving on to a hand and knee position. Let's have the blocks available in case you need them, and we'll step the right foot forward into a lunge. And I'll start the timer. This will do for 2 minutes. So this is called either dragon pose or just lunge stretch. Now, if your back knee is sensitive, we could put an extra folded blanket under that back knee. Also, if we put more pressure on the top of the back foot, we can lift some pressure off the back knee. So feel free to make adjustments as you need to to keep that back knee feeling comfortable. We have lots of options here. We could lift the hands up on the front thigh. And another variation is to raise up the arm of the back leg side. So that would be the left arm in this case, and lean a little bit to the right. We also have an option of leaning down to the middle. So we may want to support the elbows on the blocks, relaxing forward. Or if you're flexible enough, you might be able to come all the way down without the blocks. When we lean down to the front, we're going to feel it more underneath the front leg. And then when we lift up higher, we're going to feel it more to the front of the hip of the back leg. And so with Yin Yoga, you just want to adjust so that you feel you're getting the stretch that you need. So there's no one right way to do this as long as it's comfortable for your body. Keep breathing, relaxing into that stretch. We're well over halfway done with this. Keep the shoulders somewhat relaxed. The front knee more or less over the foot. So we'll step back to hands and knee. Now before we do the other side, let's do a little cat-cow. So hands on the shoulders, fingers spread all the fingertips, press into the mat, or you can modify coming up to fists on the knuckles. Inhale, lift the tailbone, lift the head, look forward. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin, look down. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, looking down. Moving between extension and flexion. And one more, we'll just do 5 of these. So we're again going to move into the lunge, this time with the left foot stepping forward. I'll start the timer for 2 minutes. And remember all our variations. If you need to pad under that back knee, that's fine, or put more pressure on the top of the back foot to take pressure off the knee. We could bring hands on the front thigh. We could reach the right arm up and lean a little bit left. We also could bring the blocks inside the foot, leaning down onto the elbows here, or perhaps doing it without the blocks. So lots of variations. Again, the front knee stays more or less over the middle of the foot. Shoulders relaxing. When we lift higher, we're focusing stretch to the front of the back hip, or when we lean down to the front, we're feeling the stretch more under the thigh of the front leg. Keep inhaling for 4, exhaling for 8. We're well over halfway done. And then stepping back to the hands and knees. We'll do 5 more cat-cows. Inhale, lift the tailbone, let that extension roll to the top of the head. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, the flexion rolls to the back of the head. Inhale to extension, exhale flexion. One more each way. Lower the elbows, slide the legs back. Make sure the knees are on the mat so they're padded. We're going to be doing the infant or locust next. And we'll be doing 4 sets of just 3 to 5 breaths each time. If you need support for your low back, keep your abdominals pulling in, like lifting the navel away from the mat, and always stay within your comfortable range of motion. So let's start lying down, head turned to the left, arms by your sides. As you inhale, lift the chest, lift the arms, lift the legs, look forward, holding 3 to 5 breaths. Head tall, shoulders relaxed, abdominals pulling in as needed. This is good for strengthening the back muscles. Now as you exhale, lower down, look to the right. Relax for a few breaths. Inhale, lift again. Keep breathing. There might be a little bit of lift of the chest with the inhale, slight lowering with the exhale, shoulders relaxed, neck long. Exhale, lower down, look to the left, take a few breaths. Again, inhale, lift, looking forward. Feel strengthening of the back muscles, abdominals pulling in as needed. Exhale, lower down, look to your right. Last time, inhale, lift, look forward. And lower down, look left. Now relax your legs, cross the arms under the forehead. For most people, turning the legs outward feels more comfortable, but if it feels better for you to turn them inward, that's fine as well. We're going to do 2 sets of 1 minute of either crocodile or the sphinx or the seal, which is like the cobra. So let me just show them briefly. Crocodile, sphinx, or seal. I'll start the timer. So your choice again, support the head in crocodile, legs closer, elbows under shoulders, looking forward in the sphinx, head tall, neck long, shoulders relaxed, or hands under shoulders, pressing up to straight elbows, and then turning fingers out. So your choice of these 3 positions. Focus on deep breaths, and if it feels comfortable to do so, fully relax muscles through the low back, through the hips, through the abdomen, just relaxing into that stretch for the low back. And if it ever starts feeling like too much stretch, just lower down. Again, we can be in the sphinx, looking toward the horizon, neck long, shoulders relaxed. Or all the way down in the cobra, in the crocodile. In the crocodile, we could focus on that abdominal breath where you feel the abdomen rising with the inhale, sinking with the exhale. So that's the finish of the first set. So come down to crocodile if you're not there already. Take a few breaths in crocodile. And second set. So again, you have the option to remain in crocodile. Lift the sphinx, looking toward the horizon, or hands under shoulders, pressing up to seal. Fingers turn out, head tall, shoulders relaxed, neck long. Inhaling for 4, exhaling for 8. Halfway done. Feeling stretch in the low back as well as in the front of the hips if you're lifting up very high into the hip flexors and the abdominals. And lower back down. With hands and the shoulders, press up, walk the knees forward, have your big toes touching, knees a little bit apart, as we're going to sink down into child's pose for 1 minute. I'll start the timer. Now, if it's not comfortable to bring the head directly to the mat, we can stack the forehead on the back of the hands, stack the two fists with the forehead on the fists, or we could rest the forehead on the block. Now, if it's not comfortable at all for you to do that child's pose, modification is lie on the back. And either hold on top of the knees or behind the thighs as we pull the knees in toward the abdomen, but keeping the sacrum, low back, tailbone down against the floor. Feel stretch into the low back, take some deep breaths. We're about 2/3 done with this. Arms can be wherever you like. And then we'll sit up. And then we're going to come to lying on the back. Lying on the back, we're going to do the twisted root pose or lying spinal twist. To begin with, have arms in a T, cross right thigh over left thigh. Now you could start with the left foot down on the ground, or you could start with the left foot lifted up. Now we're going to lower the knees to the left. I'll start the timer for 1 minute. Now, if you need to modify, take a block over here to catch the knee so it doesn't go so far. Otherwise, if you want some assistance to go a little bit deeper into the stretch, we can take the left hand on the right knee. Now, you may choose to either look at the ceiling or you may turn the head to look at the right hand. Be sure that this right shoulder and right shoulder blades stay down on the ground. We're over halfway done. Now slowly bring the legs up and keep right thigh over left. And now we're either going to hold behind the knees or behind the thighs like this. Have the option of lifting the forehead toward the right knee. Press the low back, the sacrum, the tailbone down. We'll take a few breaths here. Lie the head back, lower the feet and uncross. And for the other side. So left thigh over right thigh, arms in a T. You may start with the right foot down or the right leg lifted up. We're going to lower the knees to your right. I'll start the timer for 1 minute. And here again, if we need to modify, we can put a block under the knee to limit how far it goes, or for more stretch, use the right hand to pull that left knee over. Now you may look at the ceiling or you may look at the left hand. Keep that left shoulder and left shoulder blade down on the ground. And keep inhaling for 4, exhaling for 8. About 2/3 done with this one. And we're gradually going to take the knees up. Still keep the legs crossed. Either hold behind the knees or behind the thighs. Option of lifting the forehead toward the left knee. Keep the low back, sacrum, tailbone pressing down as we take a few breaths here. Lower the head, uncross the legs, hold both knees, and now let's make circles in the air with the knees, massaging the low back and sacrum against the ground. Keep breathing as you're circling. After 10 circles, we'll reverse directions, change directions now. Keep breathing. And then lower the feet, stretch your legs out. So we're going to rest and relax for 3 minutes. I'll go ahead and start the timer now. If you need to modify, a modification would be putting the bolster under the knees. You also can modify by putting a folded blanket behind the head if you need to. So relax your arms at the sides, palms up. We can let the feet be a little wide, toes and knees turning out to the sides. Practice deep, full breaths where the abdomen expands with the inhale, contracts with the exhale. Observe how you're feeling after those Yin Yoga stretches. See if you feel relaxed and yet energized through all the areas we've been stretching, through the legs, the hips, and the back. Continue with that slow breathing, inhaling each time for a count of 4, exhaling for a count of 8. Now wiggle the fingers and toes, roll the head side to side, bend the knees, flatten the feet, roll to the side, press hands down as you sit up. So that's it for that Yin Yoga sequence. Look for me to be posting another sequence in the next few weeks. And if you do have any questions, then you may leave them in the comments. And if you enjoy the video, please hit like and subscribe. If you'd like to be notified when I post new videos, then hit the alarm bell next to the subscribe button. Thank you.